Every year you earn six figures, but still feel stuck. You could be missing out on over $20,000 in real wealth building. Here's the reality. Half of Americans making more than $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck, constantly asking, where is all this money going? If you thought jumping a salary milestone would finally erase your money anxiety, you're not alone. But here's a truth nobody tells you. Six figures is not the finish line. In fact, it might actually be a financial trap, unless you learn how to flip the equation. In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly why earning what once seemed like a fortune now buys less comfort than ever, and reveal a practical blueprint so you keep your income from vanishing each month. Ready to see what's really happening behind those impressive paychecks? Let's get into it. First, let's make this personal. Have you ever hit a major financial milestone, say your first six-figure salary, and then felt basically nothing? Like, you imagine that reaching $100,000 a year is going to be this moment where you finally feel wealthy, but you're still checking your bank account with the same old anxiety. Trust me, you're in good company. I'm Jim, and I spend an almost unhealthy amount of time digging into personal finance, money psychology, and why so many people with big paychecks still feel broke. If you want to unlock why earning what most people call a fortune doesn't feel like it, subscribe to Jim Invests and smash that like if you want a step-by-step guide that helps you see where your money's really disappearing. Let's break open the first surprising truth, and it's a big one. According to Lending Club, in 2024, about 50% of Americans earning over $100,000 a year live paycheck to paycheck. Not just feeling pinched, we're talking literally waiting for that next deposit to cover bills. That's from Lending Club 2024. So why does making $100,000, a number people used to daydream about, turn out to feel so underwhelming? Let's run through the math, because when you finally see these numbers in black and white, it hits hard. Start with taxes. Federal tax, state tax, local tax, FICA, Medicare. It's all a constant, quiet bleed you don't fully appreciate until you work out the details. A $100,000 annual salary on paper, after taxes, depending on your state and city, you're keeping around $60,000 to $65,000. In New York City, for instance, after federal, state, and city taxes, a typical single filer making $100,000 will net about $6,000 a month. That source is from Tax Foundation 2023. That's already a huge chunk missing before you pay for anything else. In high cost of living cities, the story gets worse. In Manhattan, your $100,000 can feel like $30,000 once local costs are factored in. Suddenly, the number that was meant to propel you into a new life just lands you in another bracket of worry. Same stress, new numbers. Now, let's visualize where that $6,000 actually goes every month. Let's take the real breakdown. First, rent for a safe apartment in a major city ranges from $2,000 to $3,500. Second, health insurance through your employer, $400 to $800. Third, student loans, especially if you've got an advanced degree, $800 to $2,000. Fourth, childcare ranges from $1,500 to $3,000. Fifth, transportation, public, car, or rideshare, $150 to $300. Sixth, groceries, $400 to $600. Seventh, utilities and internet, $200 to $300. Eighth, phone, $100 to $150. Ninth, dining out, even just modestly, $400 to $600. 10th, car insurance, $150 to $300. 11th, Renters or homeowners insurance, $20 to $50. 12. Savings. If you're disciplined, $300 to $500. Time to do the quick math. Even on the low end, you're looking at $6,000 to $7,500 in monthly costs. But you only take home about $6,000. That means you're basically running a deficit, even making $100,000 a year. That lends real context to why half of so-called high earners are stuck in this paycheck-to-paycheck grind. The math simply doesn't add up. Chart source: Bureau of Labor Statistics 2023. Quick gut check. Drop a comment with your single most surprising monthly expense. What's the one thing that eats your paycheck faster than you expect? Swapping stories helps our community learn how these silent costs sneak up on all of us. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about people being financially reckless or irresponsible. It's just that the big structural costs of modern life, housing, healthcare, education, and transportation, have soared so far past income growth, the numbers are broken. For example, inflation has steadily eaten away at your purchasing power. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics inflation calculator, $100,000 from 10 years ago would require you to earn $132,000 today just to match its purchasing power. Look back 20 years, and that same $100,000 is the equivalent of about $175,000 in today's money. That's from the U.S. BLS 2024. In other words, crossing the 100K line now gives you way less security than ever before. And it's only getting worse, since inflation rarely takes a break. And most salary bumps never fully catch up. You keep running, but the finish line moves faster. But what about lifestyle inflation? Here's where a lot of us get tripped up without even realizing it. You're earning $80,000, getting by, and then you snag that raise to 6 figures. Naturally, you want your life to feel upgraded, like all the hard work was worth it. So you swap your used Honda for a slick lease. You move into a place with more space or amenities. Add an extra streaming service. Start treating yourself to better restaurants. Or sneak in a fancier vacation. Individually, none of these upgrades feels wild, because you can technically afford it, right? But put together, they form new baselines that you get stuck on. The $3,000 apartment, now it's normal. The monthly car payment, locked in. That's where the trap sets. Because when the next raise comes, instead of building savings or investments, you ratchet everything up another level. Maybe a $4,000 apartment. Maybe trips to Europe instead of weekend road trips. And here's what's wild. We're hardwired this way, psychologically. Social comparison is baked into human nature. When our peers or folks on social media upgrade, we feel compelled to keep up. Research confirms that most of us measure financial success not by absolute numbers, but by how we stack up to those around us. That's from University of California, 2022. Social media makes it all more brutal. Instead of comparing yourself to the Joneses down the street, you're benchmarking against everyone on the planet. The reality? You don't see their student loans, family bailouts, or the fact that they might be drowning to keep up appearances. You see the filtered, vacation-filled highlight reels, not their credit card statements. Here's a real story from my community. Amanda, a 34-year-old marketing manager in Boston, made her first $115,000 year and expected to finally feel ahead. But after taxes, a $2,800 rent, $900 student loan payment, $600 on groceries, $350 on transportation, $180 on phone and utilities, $400 on eating out. All she could save was $150 a month. and even that felt like a stretch. The kicker? She started feeling more anxious about money after her raise than before because her lifestyle had gotten so much bigger so quickly. She told me, "I hit my so-called dream salary, but I'm still checking my account before dinner out." Sound familiar? If that resonates, drop a "that's me" in the comments so we know this isn't just Amanda. And if you want to see more case studies or real number breakdowns like Amanda's, let me know with a like. It helps me make more step-by-step guides for our community. Let's zoom out. This isn't just about individual choices. It's the economic environment. The U.S. median home price is now north of $415,000, about 5 times the median household income, when for decades homes were expected to cost about 3 times your income. That's Bloomberg, 2023. In cities like San Francisco, that median is over $1.2 million. Los Angeles, $682,000. New York, more than $500,000. Washington, D.C., close to $500,000. These numbers are wild. If you make $100,000 and want to purchase in any of these cities, your math doesn't work. Want proof? The median cost of home ownership now eats up about 45% of median household income, far above the traditional recommended range of 28 to 36%. Chart source, Bloomberg, 2023. That's why our generation's average age of a first-time home buyer is now 40. 40. A few decades ago, people that age were moving into their second or third place. Now, it's just breaking in. For high earners, that gulf between expectations and reality feels devastating. You do everything right. Chase degrees, secure the big job. But the dream of owning a home drifts even further away. Let's talk student loan debt, since it's one of the biggest silent stressors for six-figure professionals. Nationwide, the average balance is around $40,000. But for six-figure earners, doctors, lawyers, MBAs, engineers, it's often double, even triple that. Some quick numbers. Dentists average over $313,000 in student debt. Lawyers hover near $130,000. And senior engineers or PhDs can easily land between $100,000 and $300,000. That's from educationdata.org, 2024. What does that mean for your monthly budget? Well, payments of $1,000 to $2,000 a month toward loans isn't uncommon. Money that can't go towards buying a home, building wealth, or even sleeping peacefully. The toll is intense. Nearly 80% of borrowers with $130,000 to $139,000 in loans report high or very high stress about their situation. One 30-year-old subscriber in NYC, making over $105,000, told me he feels like he's paying a second rent to the government and barely surviving. If your paycheck is devoured as soon as it lands because of debt, there's no room to breathe. It gets even weirder when we look at geography. $100,000 in Cincinnati means a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath home with a backyard for $1,800 per month. In Santa Monica, it's a 450-square-foot studio for $1,650. That same salary stretches 3 times further in some places. But here's the rub. Most high-earning jobs are still clustered in high-cost areas. Tech, San Francisco and Seattle. Finance, New York and Chicago. Entertainment, Los Angeles. If your dream is to be at the center of these fields, your salary never gets you the life you imagined. Your expenses scale up faster than your income. Even remote work, once seen as a loophole for geographic arbitrage, where you make coastal money but live somewhere cheap, is closing. Companies have started adjusting salaries for location, as more candidates flood cheaper cities. That trick isn't as easy as it was 3 years ago. It's left a weird limbo. You want the high salary, but the high wage buys less and less if you stay put. And it doesn't stop at income. It's psychological too. When you make $100,000, it feels solid. Until you sit in a room of people making $200,000, $500,000, even $1 million a year. Suddenly, what should feel luxurious feels basic. Surveys show Americans now believe it takes $520,000 a year on average to feel truly rich. People making under $50,000 say they'd need $157,000 to feel comfortable, while 100,000 earners imagine comfort starting at $246,000. That's from Charles Schwab Modern Wealth Survey 2024. The more you make, the further away enough seems. The finish line just keeps scooting away right when you think you're about to reach it. It's a hedonic treadmill, fueled by aspiration and comparison, especially in a social media world where there's always someone newer, richer, flashier. Let's put it bluntly. $100,000 today makes you comfortable middle class, but it doesn't make you rich. And you know who never worries about missing a paycheck or covering unexpected expenses? Really rich people. If you still worry about a surprise car repair, a hospital bill, or even a last-minute dinner outing, you're not rich by practical standards. Just middle class, trying to look and feel like you've made it. That's the deep pain for so many high earners today. They've reached that magic salary number, but the money anxiety still follows them around. The number changed, but the worry and the sense of falling short didn't. And if you're watching at this point, I promise you are not alone. But now, and here's the part you've been waiting for, how do you actually change the equation? There's a framework I call escaping the six-figure trap. And I'm going to reveal it step by step, so you can put real structure into the emotional mess. Stick with me, because the final step is the key most high earners miss. Before we get tactical, quick safety reminder. This is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Always consult a professional before making decisions about your specific situation. Let's get into the 5-step framework to escape the six-figure trap and finally feel in control of your money. First, track true net cash flow monthly. Open your bank app or use a budgeting tool. But skip the wishful thinking and log every dollar in and out over the last 3 months. Tally up your actual spending categories. Most high earners are shocked to discover subscriptions, food delivery, services, and just because purchases, eating up over $1,000 a month. Knowledge is power. You can't change what you don't measure. Second, identify your social comparison triggers. Unfollow or mute accounts that fuel lifestyle envy. Create an aspiration audit. Write down whose spending patterns, vacations, or career moves make you feel behind. Once you see these triggers, it's easier to stop playing the constant upgrade game and focus on your own scorecard. Third, automate savings before lifestyle upgrades. Here's the move. Every time you get a raise, immediately increase your auto transfer to savings, retirement, or investment by half of the raise before you upgrade anything else. If you earn a $500 monthly raise, redirect $250 to savings. Then decide if you actually want that upgrade with what's left. Fourth, add peer accountability. Get one like-minded friend or partner to compare monthly spending and saving progress. Just once a month. Share the wins and call out drift. This is the fastest way to make real change stick, because it's way easier to break unconscious patterns when you know someone else will notice. Fifth, celebrate progress, not just income. Each time you hit a net worth milestone, pay down a loan, or say no to a lifestyle upgrade and invest instead. Actually mark the occasion. Treat progress itself as the real win, not just climbing the salary ladder. This is the psychology shift high earners almost never make, and it's the one that leads to long-term wealth and less anxiety. Want to apply this right now? Download my free Lifestyle Inflation Audit Checklist, linked in the description. It'll help you spot exactly where your money might be vanishing each month in 5 minutes or less. A quick shareable summary. Earning $100,000 means almost nothing if your spending habits and mindset haven't shifted beyond zero. Wealth isn't about earning more. It's about finally feeling free from money anxiety. And that comes from these daily choices. So, which expense sneaks up on you the most each month? Share it below. And if you're ready to start escaping the six-figure trap, join the Jim Invests community for more guides, frameworks, and real stories. Because feeling wealthy doesn't have to wait until your next raise. The work starts right here. Here's the bottom line. Making six figures used to be the finish line. But today, without a plan, it's just a new starting point. The math and the psychology are both stacked against you. But that's only if you keep following the default script. When you put the 5-step framework into action, tracking your real cash flow, auditing your comparison triggers, automating savings, getting peer accountability, and stopping to celebrate actual progress, that's when the feeling of wealth finally starts to catch up with the numbers. Here's how to start. Today, download the free Lifestyle Inflation Audit Checklist below and use it to review just 1 month of spending. Within a week, make a list of 3 specific habits, triggers, or so-called must-haves you could downgrade or automate away. Make a calendar commitment to share your progress with a friend before the end of next month. Track which financial wins made you feel proud, not just richer, over the next 6 to 12 months. Use an app like Mint, YNAB, or Personal Capital to automate this tracking. Every month, check in with yourself and your accountability partner. Is your money going further than before? If you stick to this process, you'll start feeling real results. Less money stress, more freedom, more room to save or invest in as little as 2 months, and bigger results over a year. The numbers don't change overnight, but the weight on your mind absolutely can. If this helped you flip your thinking, subscribe to Jim Invests and turn on notifications. Next week, I'll break down the true after-tax numbers for 3 real 6-figure jobs in different cities and show step-by-step how ordinary earners can finally build lasting wealth. Hit like if you want more deep-dive frameworks and real stories, and comment your #1 money frustration below. I read every single one. This isn't individualized advice. Serious. Always talk with a certified advisor for your personal questions. All sources are cited where possible. Remember, wealth isn't about earning more. It's about staying free from money pressure, one intentional choice at a time.